Tom Hanks, left, and Meryl Streep as journalism icons Ben Bradlee and Katharine Graham in the Post. Los Angeles. It's almost hard to believe that the world's preeminent actress Meryl Streep has not collaborated with Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks until the Post came along. Steven doesn't rehearse, so that was completely terrifying and destabilizing for me, admitted the actress. In Steven's 1970s set true-life journalism thriller, Meryl plays Katharine K. Graham, the socialite-turned-publisher of The Washington Post who grapples with the decision to go along with editor Ben Bradlee's, Tom, desire to publish the so-called Pentagon Papers. These classified documents detailed the U.S. government's private acknowledgement of its failure and mistakes in the then-ongoing Vietnam War. Meryl Streep, photo by Ruben V. Nepals word perfect Tom. But Tom knew that Steven doesn't rehearse, so he was ready, said Meryl, who wore glasses and tied her hair in a ponytail, in this Los Angeles interview. She was candid and gracious, as usual. So that was even worse, laughs. Tom never made a mistake, ever. He was always completely word perfect and ready and on the balls of his feet. So it made me lean forward, step up and do my push-ups before I went on set. But, it was joyous, clarified the thespian who is at the top of her game at 68. It was a happy group, because there were so many great actors and there was so little time in which to make this movie. Part of Meryl's joy in being on the Post was observing her accomplished director. Steven is such an amazing filmmaker. I've never, ever worked with anyone who has a more intuitive, sensate feel for how to construct a visual narrative. She cited a scene, the idea that Steven would hear a story about the presses being in the bottom of the old Washington Post building and that he would think to have Ben Bagdikian, played by Bob Odenkirk, type his story and feel that the presses are running and history is shaking. The world's shaking with what's being printed downstairs. That's just great storytelling. Steven would find things like that every day, so it was exciting to go to work. Woman's journey on why it took this long for her to be on Steven's set, Meryl explained, this is one of the few films that he's made that's focused on a woman's journey. I wouldn't have been in Saving Private Ryan. And in lots of his films, like Lincoln and Amistad. I'm very happy that Steven decided to make a film about that moment in time, because it was so seminal. It was a moment when certainly in the United States, things shifted politically, culturally, and in many different ways. He tells a number of different stories in this film. While The Post takes place in the 70s, the story about the Nixon administration trying to silence the Washington Post and the New York Times as they attempt to publish the Pentagon Papers resonates in these times when the Trump administration seeks to discredit journalists. As for Tom, Meryl pointed out, he was my boss on Mamma Mia. He was the producer. The truthful answer is that I'm 7 years older than Tom.